Hey folks, Eric Ray, Focus Fishing Guide Service. Got another video fishing report for you for Table Rock Lake. It is Tuesday, January 17th. As far as our lake level is concerned, that little bit of rain we had did bring the lake up a little bit. We are at 907.3 as of this morning, so still pretty close to 8 feet down. Did bring the lake up a little bit. It had gotten down almost to 907 even before the weekend. Had all that cold rain and freezing rain and ice-mageddon, whatever you want to call it, over the weekend. And it did bring the lake up. Water temperature, still pretty warm. 46.5 when I launched this morning here at Baxter. 47.2 when I got off the water. So it did warm up. It's not really gotten that cold. Looking at the forecast, at least for the next 10 days, it doesn't look like it's going to cool off a whole lot more than that. So I don't know that we're ever going to get to where we have a shad kill and it gets really cold. It gets down into the low 40s or upper 30s. As far as the fishing is concerned, first day I've been on the water since last Wednesday. Didn't fish during the ice storm and the rain and everything else. I know a few guys did over the weekend. Talked to a few guys who fished. I decided to stay home. Didn't want to be out in the ice. Didn't have any trips booked, or actually had a couple of trips booked. We wound up moving them around a little bit, and that way get back on the water this week. We'll be on the water all this week and most of next week, so got some trips lined up. Fished today, like I said, and it was kind of slow. It was a little disappointing down here in Baxter area, but we are still catching some fish. Caught them pretty decent last Wednesday, and of course caught them decent the week before. Kind of an odd day today. I think the lack of sunshine kind of hurt us today, and they just didn't seem to want to bite real good. But if you guys are coming down, say you're going to fish the lower end of the lake, a couple of good bites going on down there. Still have a good crankbait bite going on down at the lower end of the lake. Wigglewort, rock crawler, working real good on those 45-degree chunk rock banks and those channel swing transition banks. Both those areas, definitely catching fish on those. Most of those fish are coming between about 7 to 12 foot deep. Parallel the bank essentially, get the boat in about 10 foot of water, cast parallel, banging into as many rocks or anything else you can find on those. Wind really helps. Windy days like today, cloudy days like today, tend to bite a little bit better on that crankbait. Catching a few more on a stick bait. We caught them good on a stick bait in the Baxter area here today, and catching a few more down in the dam area on a stick bait as well, both the Mega Bass Vision 110 and on the Spromic stick. Both those baits were working good. Any sort of a shad pattern doing really well. With Tennessee shad was a really strong color last week and worked pretty well this morning as well. And then of course you got a deep bite. The deep bite is still going on. It'll probably continue on all the way until they start to move up and spawn. Most of the fish we've been catching have been in the creeks, but more towards the mouths of the creeks versus towards the backs or even halfway back. Feels like the Corps run enough water. They're still running water today. They ran 4 units for, gosh, I guess about 4 or 5 hours today, and that's really drawing the shad out toward the mouths of the creeks. So those fish are following the shad. You're not going to find them back in the trees like we normally do back in the guts. They're more towards the mouths. They are relating to trees, and they're fairly deep. Most of the fish we saw and caught today were anywhere from about 45 to 60 or even 70 feet deep. And that's kind of how it's been down at the dam area as well. Scuba spoon's still working good. Rapala jigging rap's working good. And a drop shot with either a dream shot or the shad-shaped worm. All those are working. Coming into the Kimberling City area, decent deep bite here as well. Same baits, scuba spoon, jigging rap, and the drop shot with either a dream shot or a shad-shaped worm. Again, the fish seem to be more pulled towards the mouths of the creeks than back into the creeks like we normally see them this time of year. Really think that's the current that's doing it. Best bite's been between about 45 and 75 feet deep in the dam or in the Kimberling City area. Not really on trees, kind of on the breaks in the Kimberling City area. Really seem to be, if you've got a point that comes out and then breaks off hard on one side or the other, that really seems to be where the fish are at in the Kimberling City area. Stick bait bites good there. Mega Bass Vision 110 and the Spromic stick around isolated timber on rocky banks. If you've got a little bit of wind, really has been strong there. And then of course a wigglewort bite. Wigglewort, rock crawler, windy cloudy days like we've got today. Throw a wigglewort or a rock crawler on 45-degree chunk rock banks. A lot of fish. Seems like a lot of smallmouth in the Kimberling City area. up fairly shallow right now. And again, parallel the banks, keep the boat in about 10-11 foot of water, cast in front, try to cast into the wind so you can control the speed of the boat and the speed of the bait, and bang it into whatever cover you've got down there. James River has continued to be the best area to throw a stick bait. Talked to a couple of fellows that went up the James. They were up around Cape Fair to about Ants Creek. They kind of came back the other way. A couple guys that were up this weekend, and they said they had a really good day on a stick bait up there. Water was about 44 degrees. Caught most of their fish on a Megabass Vision 110 on either the LG Bone or the Tennessee Shad. Working it around isolated timber and mostly on the main lake on channel swing banks, where the channel swing would break down from the big rock to more of the smaller chunk rock, softball size rock. Anywhere they had a isolated tree, especially a cedar tree on those banks, they were catching fish around there. Don't really have to let the bait pause a great deal, usually a 5-second pause or less. Most of the fish are hitting it on the pause though. Even today up here in the Baxter area, most of the fish, you can jerk it a couple of times and let it sit. After it's sat for about 1.5 seconds or 2 seconds, that's when you're getting the bite. So definitely got a good stick bait bite up the James right now, and a pretty solid jig bite too, especially around Ants Creek. A lot of fish coming on a jig, Pro Spider jig, Okeechobee Blue, Green Pumpkin Candy, matched up with either a J-tail or the Speed Craw. Boat docks have been really solid, and brush piles. Fish are starting to show up in brush piles, so you definitely want to work brush piles and boat docks over with a jig if you get up in the Ants Creek area. Up here in the White, stick bait bite was good this morning. Wasn't great, didn't knock their teeth in with it, but we caught quite a few fish on a stick bait this morning and some better quality fish on it. Seemed like that bite slowed down though around 9:30, 10 o'clock, and we went and fished deep after we'd been fishing stick bait for a little bit, but don't really have to pause it. Again, it was about a 2 or 3 second pause when you get bit. I did have a couple of fish push the stick bait, which is kind of odd, but seemed like you jerk it a couple of times and they just knock slack in your line. You go to set the hook and there'll be nothing there. But most of those fish will come back and hit it again, so give it a couple more twitches and let it sit. Usually they'll come back and hit it. The Megabass Vision 110, Tennessee Shad, LG Bone were the two best colors on that, and then of course the Spro Mix stick and either Blue Bandit or Norman Flake. Both of those are working. Good wigglewort and rock crawler bite up here as well. Same sort of deal as it is all over the lake. Look for these chunk rock banks, channel swing banks where it breaks down from rock to gravel, both in the creeks and on the main lake. A lot of fish coming on a wigglewort, a lot of fish coming on a rock crawler right now. Wind is the key. If you don't have wind on the bank, you're not going to get as many bites as you get if you've got a little bit of wind on it. And then the deep bite. Like I said, we went out and fished deep after we were fishing with the stick bait, and the stick bait bite kind of quit. Caught a few deep, most of them relating to trees, relating to the main guts of the creeks, anywhere from about 45 to 75 feet deep. And a lot of them were deep. A lot of them were right on the bottom today, which was weird, even in 70, 75 foot deep, catching them down there all the way on the bottom. The scuba spoon was good, ice bait was good, and either a drop shot with either a dream shot or a shad-shaped worm, all that was working really good today. Guys, it is almost the end, I guess, middle of January. It's kind of chilly today. I'm a little bundled up and wind's blowing up my skirt right now, so it's a little bit chilly right now. But it's supposed to be in the 50s the rest of the week, and heck, supposed to be close to 70 by the weekend, which is crazy, but I'll take it. Fishing's good. Fishing's good. We're catching them deep, catching them on a stick bait, catching them on a crankbait. Stick bait bite will probably start to get a little bit better if it cools off. Crankbait bite's going to stay the same as long as the water temperature doesn't drop too much. And the deep bite, I mean, the deep bite's been really good. If you find big schools of fish out there, you can catch quite a few fish right away fishing deep. So if you guys are thinking about maybe you want to learn how to fish deep, never done it before, great idea. Come down right now, we're catching them deep. I can show you what we look for, how to read your electronics and everything else. Want to learn how to throw a stick bait, catch them on a stick bait? Good idea. I can help you out with that too. Or if you just want to learn how to throw a jig or a crankbait, we're still catching them on a jig, we're still catching them on a crankbait. Great idea. Booked solid this week. Got a couple of trips next week. February's pretty open though. So if you guys are thinking about coming down and want to go in February, give me a call. Let's get something booked before everything gets booked up. If you're thinking about it, give me a call. It's Focus Fishing Guide Service. You can reach me at 417-860-4743. Hit my website, focusfishing.com. You can book online. If you do that, we'll hit you with a confirmation within 12 hours. Or just shoot me an email. We can kind of discuss back and forth what works out best for you. Remember, we are running winter rates. We're going to run winter rates all the way through the end of February. So another month and a half of winter rates, say $50 on a guide trip. But if you guys want to go, give me a call. We'll go out and catch some fish and have a good time. I really appreciate you guys watching the videos. Thanks for subscribing. I can't wait to hear from you. We'll see you on the water.